Hello, welcome, and thank you for watching this month's Tarot Talk. I'm intuitive reader Bryan Stafford from Stafford Tarot, and today's Tarot Talk topic is going to be about how to create your own tarot decks. Now, before we get into that Tarot Talk topic, I'm just going to spend a little bit of time, give some time for some viewers to join me on this broadcast to just spend a little bit of time talk about what's new at Stafford Tarot and some of the upcoming events that I have to look forward to. And then we'll get into that Tarot Talk discussion. And I will be offering up to six free short distant remote readings during this broadcast to the first 6 people who show interest in the chat during. So if you're watching this broadcast from my website, feel free to skip ahead about 20-30 minutes, as I will be offering those free short readings if you're interested in seeing some sample readings. And then we'll talk about the next Tarot Talk topic that I have for next month. But this month is about how to create your own tarot decks. And I thought I would attack this discussion a little bit by comparing some of the ways different artists have illustrated specific messages from tarot, and then we'll look at more of the creative side of our own perspectives. But first, let's get some people onto this broadcast. So we'll give some time for some viewers to join, and I'm just going to talk a little bit about what's new. Every Wednesday, I have the Astral Sacred Meadows Circle virtual gatherings. They take place over Zoom. If you're interested to join, you can register at www.askagraywitch.com. There you can click on gatherings and then click on register to join, and you just provide an email address, and that invitation join link is sent to that email address about 15 minutes before the gathering begins. It starts every Wednesday at 8 p.m. Eastern Time. Runs for about an hour or two, depending on how in-depth the conversations go, sometimes longer, depending on how many people come and how much we talk about. Those gatherings have been very helpful, helping other practitioners set up individual, unique practices for themselves. Feel free to join us. There's no requirement. You don't have to identify as Wiccan or identify as a witch. It's simply to show support and empowerment to anyone who is interested to join the conversation. Then on May 24th, which is a Saturday, I'll be at the Mystic Witches Market. It's happening at the Centre Wellington Community Sportsplex in Fergus, Ontario. I'm really looking forward to this event. It's going to be an incredible market. I will be featuring Soul Intention Metaphysical Shop at the Stafford Tarot table. So come say hello, check out all the merchandise and the products that I'll have available, and I will be offering short and full tarot readings, as well as charms, runes readings, and psychic mediumship sessions. All available at that event. Again, it'll be happening on Saturday, May 24th at the Centre Wellington Community Sportsplex. That's in Fergus, Ontario. Then on May 26th, which is a Monday, I will be offering the New Moon Oracle Moon Pull. The New Moon Pull and the Full Moon Pull always happen around the New Moon and the Full Moon, and those details get released on my website, www.staffordtarot.com, where you can just click on the event and read the forecast. It's really a public, short, 2-card pull to give a description of the energies of the time of year that we may be up against. I've received some great feedback that those oracle pulls are helpful. They get released every other week. Check it out on that website, staffordtarot.com. Then I'll be doing my free draw happening on Monday, June 9th. There's a 1 in 5 chance to win on the free draw. I am still continuing this every month. I put out posts on social media, and anyone who likes, shares, or comments on the posts are automatically included in that draw. Plus, you can reach out to me to let me know you're interested. And as well, anyone who doesn't get a chance to get a free, short, remote, distant tarot reading during this broadcast will be automatically entered into that draw as well. So the draw is a 1 in 5 chance, which means that if I get up to 5 people, I'm choosing 1 winner. Over 5, I'm choosing 2 winners. Over 10, I'm choosing 3, etc. And I always keep that ratio 1 to 5. It just allows for better chances to win. If your name does not come up, better luck next time. I do only respond to those who win. So if you don't hear from me, you can always reach out to me and let me know that you want to get involved in the next draw, or watch for those social media posts. Again, like, comment, or share any social media post that mentions the draw and you're automatically included. Then on Saturday, June 14th, 2025, on Saturday, June 14th, I will be at the Luna Night Market in the Georgian Bay Hotel in Collingwood, Ontario. This is going to be an exciting event. I will be there as the Stafford Tarot table. I will be featuring Soul Intention as well, and we'll be offering those readings, short readings, full readings, as well as charms, runes, and psychic mediumship sessions, all available at that market. At the markets, I also offer free 1-card impression pulls, which is just 1 card that lets me know where you're sitting energetically in the moment, and that can be helpful for anyone who just needs a little bit of clarity in the moment. It also adds a little bit of fun to the market. I like to offer them out for free. They're usually a $5 value, but at markets and festivals that I'm participating in, I offer them out for free. If anyone's interested, perhaps you've never received a tarot reading, or you don't really know the way in which I work as a reader, you can sort of get that feedback right away. And I also offer those 1-card free impression pulls at the store at Soul Intention at 497 Woolwich Street in Guelph, Ontario. That is my new metaphysical shop that I've recently opened and have joined partnership with my business partner to operate and manage that business. Very exciting. It means that Stafford Tarot now has a physical home, and I will be doing all of my readings from that location, as well as remotely, which is what we're doing now. And I thought I would take a moment to just quickly show you the store, if I may. We can take a little quick tour around because I'm there at the moment. Hopefully this will work without any disruption. We will see. So as soon as you step out of the session room at the store, there is this lovely cafe area, and this is where we invite people to sit, relax, have tea. There's free Wi-Fi available, cookies and snacks, and just have a chat and, you know, put your feet up and you know, let go of some of that tension and anxiety throughout the day. And of course, we have lots of jewelry and tarot decks and pendulums and lots of interesting artisan products. All sorts of interesting artifacts and products and gift ideas from artisans. And of course, we have a major selection of crystals. All sorts of crystals to choose from. Right down to the tumblers, to the big stones and crystals. Any kind you can think of. And of course, this is Soul Intention. So thank you so much for the little tour. Let's head back to the session room where we can continue our remote event. Thank you so much. And now we can get started into that tarot talk discussion. So today's tarot talk topic is going to be about how to make your own tarot decks. Now, as I mentioned earlier, I thought I would just display some of the ways in which other deck creators have interpreted the symbolisms of the deck. If you're familiar with the tarot structure, with the This tarot structure does not change amongst all the different tarot decks. The symbolisms, the messages that are associated with each card are usually depicted based on the perception of the artist. So it's really about, when you create your own tarot decks, it's really about how you interpret the messages. How do you perceive the way the symbolisms are speaking in the cards? And you can put that into any kind of imagery that you'd like, that you're comfortable with. And I can give you an example. The very standard tarot deck, the Rider-Waite-Smith, the artistry created by Pamela Cole-Smith, is the most popular and well-defined tarot deck that there is. It's the oldest tarot deck that there is, and so most of the imagery and symbolisms come from this deck. Now, I'm not speaking about oracle decks, I'm only speaking about tarot structured decks. And this tarot card is the Nine of Pentacles. And I thought I would use this as the example, because there are different ways that you can appreciate and acknowledge the Nine of Pentacles. And that's the way that you're going to want to acknowledge it into your own tarot deck, is the way that you associate with those messages. So the way that I see this card, Nine of Pentacles, 9 in numerology is how you reach that end task. It's about reaching the goal, getting to that destination. Pentacles are about needs. It's about what we need for ourselves. It's usually health or finances. And so you can see here that this person here has reached the end of their path. This is the way that they envisioned their life. They have their exotic pet, their fancy robe, they're in their interesting garden, and this is the way that they saw their life. And this is the path that they've put together in order to reach that. It's about creating a plan towards the goal. It's about having a vision of what you're leaning towards or where you're going towards, and then getting towards that destination, taking the path to get there. You can see other cards describe it very similar. You can see the same symbolisms. You can still see the person in the fancy robe in their exotic garden. They've this interesting pet, and different clothing, different style of clothing, a little more modernized, but still in its own cultural right, and a little more colorful. It's been made to look a little more calming, a little more comfortable on the eyes, and that was just another artist's rendition of this card. As we move on, you can see how this rendition changes based on the perspectives of another artist. In this deck shows, again, the Nine of Pentacles, however, a very different imagery from the original. It's much more modernized. As opposed to being in your garden with your fancy robe, you could be sitting on your lawn chair enjoying the sunshine. Maybe this is the end goal for this person. Perhaps it was the end of their busy day or their busy trek or journey. It almost looks like a vacation. It really does have the same kind of feel in terms of letting loose, enjoying the scenery, maybe in the sunshine. It's really about relaxing, having all your needs, everything that you need for yourself, health, and finances. When we look at other artists' rendition of this exact same message, again, the Nine of Pentacles, same card, same symbolisms, but very different way to describe it. This is the Dreams Come True card. Again, 9, numerology, reaching that end goal, and the color around the border tells me that it's an Earth card similar to Pentacles. It's about needs, what you need for yourself, finding grounding and structure. Earth and Pentacles is usually about health or finances. And it's basically saying, reach that end goal. Don't give up the vision. The dream can come true. Here's another deck showing again the Nine of Pentacles from a very different perspective. This is from the perspective of cats. And you can see here this artist has taken the symbolisms of tarot and put it towards a cat. So what's the cat's end goal? To catch the bird. It's worked hard to get up onto that dresser and reach that bird. Excuse me, sorry. So you can see the path, you can see the destination in the artistry, in the vision, in the symbolisms of the card still being used, just put into a different perspective. Like this card. This card is also the Nine of Earth, which is similar to Nine of Pentacles in the tarot structure of the tarot deck, and it shows a pack of wolves. Now, the interesting meaning of this card is when you're a wolf and you reach the end goal, you are the leader, you are the alpha of the pack. And you can see here, all of the wolves are following the alpha. And this card is really about, where do you fit? Where do you see yourself in the goal? Are you the alpha? Are you the safety one that keeps everyone in line at the back? Are you the elder who needs to be supported in the pack? Are you one of the warriors following the alpha? You know, where do you see yourself fitting in the pack? What is the end goal? Create the vision for yourself. It's often what this card represents. You can see how the vision and the imagery are all very different from each other, and yet have the same symbolisms. This is a different way in each of these decks that the artist has rendered the symbolisms and associations of the tarot. So when you think of the Nine of Pentacles, what would you associate with that card? How would you be creative in expressing that, reaching the end goal? What's the final destination for you? What would you draw? Maybe you would draw an eagle catching its dinner, or maybe you would draw a race car reaching the destination, going over the finish line with the checkered flag. What is your destination? How do you view it? That's where you can start putting in those symbolisms and associations into the deck that you're creating for yourself, as long as you're following the tarot structure and symbolisms. There's no wrong way to express the ways in which you associate with the tarot cards. Every deck is unique, and it's really important to find a deck that speaks to you, that you can associate with the messages, that you can understand where the artist or creator is coming from the imagery, from the symbolisms, from the ways in which it's highlighted. Sometimes it's simply about the artistry. I mean, when you look at this deck being done with watercolors compared to this deck, which is very different artistry but similar, compared to something that's a bit more realism or based on realism, like the difference in the drawings, you know, right back to just restructuring the original designs. It's really whatever you're comfortable with. You can even create a tarot deck that doesn't have a lot of imagery, that simply follows the numerology and the suit. For example, a card with simply showing 9 pentacles. 9 pentacles can give you the amount of information you need in a tarot reading. Numerology being the end path, pentacles being what you need for yourself, either health or finances. When you reach an end path regarding finances or health, it's usually about a destination, a goal, a vision that you're walking towards. You can still get that same message from playing cards, just using the 9 of Diamonds as your 9 of Pentacles, and so many more ways to interpret it. So when you're creating your own deck, be sure that you're being true to yourself. That, you know, for each of the cards that you're recreating, as long as you're sticking to the tarot structure and the original symbolisms of tarot, you don't have to follow the same imagery. You don't have to follow the same style or design. You can interpret that into any way that you choose, that you feel is good for you. After all, it is an intuitive tool. And why wouldn't you use your intuition to create an intuitive tool? So keep that in mind, that, you know, it's more than just creativity. You're connecting with your intuition to create a tool to better and enhance the intuitive process. I do hope that's helpful. If there are any questions whatsoever, please let me know. Just write them in the chat and I will answer them as I see them. I should mention that sometimes in the chat there's like a 10 to 30 second delay in the amount of time it takes for me to see the message after it's been inputted or entered in. So just try to have patience with me. If you've entered something into the chat and I don't seem to have seen it yet, I probably haven't. So just be patient with me as we work with the technology that we have at our use. And if anyone at any time is interested to receive a free, short, remote, distant tarot reading during this broadcast, write interested in the chat and send that to me and I will add you to the list. I'm capping tonight's readings up to 6 free short readings simply because each reading takes about 15 minutes. And when I do 6, it usually extends the broadcast to up to 2 hours, and I think that's fairly reasonable. I don't really want to go beyond that, and so we are capping to 6 free short readings, or up to 6 free short readings, depending on how many viewers I get on this live. If there's anyone interested, let me know, and we can get started in that. Hi, Ashmir. How are you? Thank you so much for joining. I appreciate you watching. Absolutely, I can help you with that. You'll be my first reading tonight, Ashmir. And I'm just going to look at, we're going to be focusing on a job offer. Absolutely. And anyone else who's interested, just let me know. Write interested in the chat and I will add you to the list. I will be watching for those requests for free readings. So please just write it in the chat, and if I don't see you, I will go over the list, and if you don't hear your name, let me know. I do review the entire broadcast afterwards to make sure I haven't missed anyone, and I do reach out to those that may not have received a tarot reading. So please just feel free to reach out to me if you feel like I've missed you or you weren't able to input into the chat for whatever reason. We have had technical challenges on these lives before, and so I like to just put it out there. I like to try and be reasonable in case anyone has those technical challenges. We've had some pretty doozy technical glitches. Sometimes people couldn't hear me, so just confirm that I can be heard. That would be great. Sometimes it gets cut off. We've lost connections. There's been delays, sound issues, all sorts of things. So I really appreciate people being upfront and letting me know right away that there's a problem or that there's an issue, and we can look at resolving that. So Ashmir, I'm going to get started. If you'd like your free distant remote tarot reading. Now, I'm a trans-dimensional tarot reader, and that sounds more impressive than what it is. What that means is that I look at the different dimensions of different decks within one tarot reading. So I always start my readings with a 1-card impression pull from this deck. This is my very first and original Rider-Waite-Smith deck that I got many years ago. And I like to use this deck just to pull a 1-card impression pull. It tells me where you're sitting energetically in the moment. And then I'll move to this deck where you get the opportunity to ask a question or give me a topic to focus on, or it can be left general. Now, you've already indicated I will focus on that job opportunity for you. And this is the Morgan Greer deck, in case you're curious. It follows the same symbolisms as the Rider-Waite-Smith deck, only it's much more calmer. It's a bit friendlier to look at. I like to use it for readings for others. So Kashmir, here's what I get for you. Ashmir, you got the Star card. Now the Star card is pretty incredible. I really like this card for you, considering you just had your job interview and you are empowered. What this means is in the moment, in your energy, you have the Star card. You understand your talent, skill, something special about you inside, and you can shine that light. That's what the Star card represents. If this Star card came out reversed to me intuitively, that would be telling me that you're not connecting with this light, that you don't actually see your full potential. So because it came out this way, that light is there, you understand it, you see your potential, and it's just a matter of letting that light shine. I love that for you, given that you went to a job interview. That tells me that you probably made a good impression, that you shone in the interview, that you knew your abilities, you knew your skills. Now, I noticed one card has flipped over, and I have to follow through with that. It was before I even charged the cards with that intention, and that one card flipped over. So I have to follow that. There are no coincidences in tarot, and I feel like for you, Ashmir, this is just a message that you needed to hear, not necessarily connected to the reading, because I hadn't charged it yet. What I get for you is the Five of Swords reversed. What this often means is avoiding or not actually going through a no win-win situation where you were won and victorious, but there were no winners in the situation that you were in. Now it's reversed, meaning that you avoided that or that didn't happen. So there could have been an opportunity to have this no win-win situation, and you somehow turned it around or avoided it or didn't allow it to continue or happen. Again, that's a positive message for you, Ashmir, because if it was this way, it would be a no win-win situation, and that would not speak well to your day today. So just know that it doesn't speak that way. It did come out reversed, and this is talking about not going through a no win-win situation, almost like you can put that behind you. I'm going to add that back into the deck because I wasn't really fully charging the deck yet with your question. Now I am. And so I'm just keeping in mind your question and topic of this reading, this job that you went for, without giving too many details. I'm just going to pull 3 cards from this deck, and we'll look at how those cards speak to each other to get those messages. Really interesting cards. They're all suits. That tells me that these are more practical messages. And I'm just going to look at them in the way that they came out, okay? The King of Cups, this emotional decision that's not being able to be made. I don't think this is because it's not your decision to make. It's someone else's decision to make, and it's emotional for you. And so this is just a riding on the answer. The Two of Wands not reversed is often about deciding on the action that you need to take, and you actually have to foresee the outcome before you decide the action. This is the Two of Wands. 2 represents that choice. Wands represent actions or passions in tarot, and you can see here what's really standing out for me is how he's gazing into that crystal ball while he's chose one of the actions. He's had to figure out what the action outcome in the future is before he's even decided the action. That tells me that you have to be definite on the action that you choose. You have to know where it leads for you in order to choose. And the Two of Pentacles reversed. What I think is interesting about this is you have the Two of Wands upright and the Two of Pentacles reversed. And I do feel like these cards are speaking side by side, like together. The Two of Pentacles is often about not being able to balance 2 aspects of your life, either 2 aspects of health or 2 aspects of finances. I do get a sense that the coins are standing out for me, that this is about finances. It's about balancing 2 aspects of finances in your life. And it's reversed, meaning that this balance isn't taking place. Once you resolve the challenge or figure out the problem, that's when this card flips around and you're now creating that balance between these 2 aspects of your life. But in the meantime, it looks like this. Now, with those 2 cards speaking together, I feel like there's some conflict in this choice that you have to make. Again, it really reiterates that not being able to choose, or this choice isn't yours to ultimately make. That doesn't mean that it's not going to go the way you want. It just means it's out of your hands. It's really up to, well, you said you were going for a job. It could be really up to the employer whether this job is yours or not. What that tells me, though, Ashmir, is that I think you have all the qualifications and skills and made a good impression in the job. I don't think if you don't get that job, it's not going to be at the expense of your efforts. It's going to be simply one of the, they just had to choose one of the people out of the amount of people that were there. these are all positive messages for the most part, except for this not balancing your finances. And I can understand why you'd be in that position if you were just going for the job. The job is maybe what is going to turn this around so that you are balancing your finances. I think this speaks really positive, but it's not really indicating the answer that you're looking for. Will you get this job? It's really specifying where you're at now in terms of this decision not being yours. The actions that you take, and you have to foresee where they go, and not creating this balance between two aspects of your life. I'm wondering if I can extend on this further. I really would like to try and get more information about whether this job was successfully gained or not. I'm going to ask my Zen deck. It gives great insight in terms of the interaction of energies that are taking place. And if I focus on that, it may give us the outcome. Like, what's the energetic interaction of this job interview I would like to see. And that may indicate for us how that went or where it's leading. So I'm just focusing on that with the intention of that energetic interaction being described, and I'm focusing on the energies of the reading right from the beginning. Really interesting cards have come out. First of all, they all three are higher arcana cards. This means that they are not practical messages. They are more important messages, and if I read them together, I'll probably get the theme of the reading. So I'm just going to start in one side and work my way over, okay, in the order that they came out. This is the Silence card. Now, the moon is really standing out for me, as well as the glow of the moon on the clouds. And the moon is often a sign for me intuitively that the person I'm reading for has intuition, and that you can allow your own intuition to guide you. It's kind of like a symbol of empowerment in the way that it's standing out for me on the card. So keep that in mind, Ashmir. I wonder if this represents, the weight. Will you hear back? Will you know where this leads? It's really about the weight in which, the silence of that weight until you hear back. Right now is the moment of silence, and that's why I think you're getting the Silence card. That doesn't mean that you're not going to hear back, but there could be a period of time that's going to happen. Awareness is the next card that I want to talk about. Now, this is a 7 in numerology, which is like spiritual development and empowerment. And the awareness, I feel like, is coming from within. What are you aware of? What's the awareness within you? You can see how this person is breaking free, almost like they're passing through a veil from one realm to another. They're becoming aware. Something is awareing to them. I think you can base this on what your experience was in the job interview. How do you feel this went? What is your awareness of the experience of the employer or the interviewer? Do you think they were impressed? Chances are you're right that you got the same impression in the interview that would tell you how you did. And then the inner voice. Trust your instincts, follow your intuition, listen to that inner voice. Again, I asked this deck if you got the job moving forward. What was the energetic interaction? And it seems to me like the energetic interaction was you being yourself, being aware of yourself, and being committed. There's definitely this positive impression that seems to be out there. This deck can be harsh, and these are not harsh messages. I would keep that in mind, that when I look at this reading and I ask the cards if you got the job, again, there isn't a definitive answer. However, it's basically outlining the feel of it, if that makes sense. Hi, Arissa. Absolutely. I'll add you to the list and you can be next. Just get through the reading with Ashmir first. So if you feel like it was one interviewer that went really well, Trust your instincts. Follow your intuition, Ajmer. I think that you probably gave a good impression if you feel that that's the way it went, according to the way the cards are described here. Where I get that impression as well is when I bring this reading right back to where you are now with the Star card, being empowered, shining that inner light really bright and being yourself in that inner power. That power, that light is often a skill, a talent, something special about you. And that's where you're at now in the moment. And when I look at the experience, the energetic interaction, these are all positive messages of inner enlightenment, of following your own inner voice, trusting your instincts. Your intuition could be speaking to you. Listen to it. I think that's your best guide. I think you have really positive chances here. Like I said, if whatever reason you don't get the job, it's certainly not going to be the lack of your effort, according to the cards that are here. I see your message there. It's not that there isn't an outcome, it's the cards are not gaining it. And I think there's a reason for that. Quite often when cards don't give the outcome is up to you. It's really you're empowered. You have to make the decision. You decide where this goes. That tells me that if it's up to you, chances are you're going to be offered this job. Now, I'd love to hear back and get that feedback from you, because I don't see any negative messages throughout this whole thing, other than this where you are now with this imbalance of what you need for yourself. And perhaps not being able to make this decision because it's not your decision to make. Once that decision's made for you, this card flips around and you're now reigning in that ruling. But in the meantime, it looks like this. Let me know if you have any questions on that, Ajmer. I think the cards are not being definite, but they are showing positive signs moving forward. I do hope that this is helpful. When I look at this reading as a whole, you have 4 higher arcana showing up on the table, which is all about finding grounding and support for yourself. And with pentacles, wands, and cups, and no swords, I think it's just as important to look at what doesn't show up as what does. Because what does show up is the messages you needed to hear today, which is about the needs, the actions, the emotions, but no swords, which is about the heavy thoughts and intellectual processes, which could definitely mean that you have the right mindset, that you're thinking about this the right way, or you'd have swords all over the table. I hope that that makes sense, Ajmer. Thank you so much. I appreciate that. Please do. Let me know how it goes, and I wish you all the best. You're very welcome. Hi, Elizabeth. Absolutely. I can write you down. Now, our very first problem, technical problem, is my battery is falling very fast. I do hope I have enough battery power to get through the broadcast. Let me know if you have any questions, Ajmer. I'm going to put the cards away and move on to the next reading for Arissa. Arissa, if you're there, let me know. And if you have a question or topic you'd like me to focus on, otherwise I can just leave it general. You're very welcome, Ajmer. I see your message there. I'll have my fingers crossed for you as well. I'm rooting for you, especially with the Star card. So Arissa, if you're there, let me know, and if you have a message or a question or topic you'd like to request from the reading. Otherwise, it can be left general. I'm just going to start with a 1-card impression pull that's just going to tell me where you're sitting energetically in the moment. Now, is that charging? It's hard to say. Relationships, absolutely. I'll focus on relationships. For you in the moment, Arissa, I get the 7 of Pentacles reversed. Now, what this often means is not getting to the work. There's a reward in the future, but it's in the distant future, and you have to put the work in first and before you reach the reward. It uses the depiction of a farmer planting a crop, and when the farmer does that, he has to grow the crop, he has to nurture, take care of the plant, he has to ripen the fruit, he has to harvest the fruit, all before he gains any reward from all of that work. All of that work has to be put in first before he reaps the reward. And that's what this card represents. 7 in numerology is about spiritual development. It's about grounding as a soul. And the pentacles are needs for ourselves, either health or finances. So when we have needs that are based on a spiritual development, it's usually a lesson to be learned. It's more important to go through the journey than it is reaching the destination. And so the focus is on the path that leads there, the amount of work that needs to get done. It's the work that will lead to the reward, and it's the work that has to get done before there's any reward later on. And that's what this is saying. But when it's reversed, it's telling me that the work isn't exactly getting done. There's some sort of hold or hold up or something in the way. Once you resolve that challenge, that's when this card flips around and you're now getting to the work. But in the meantime, it looks like this. Just keep in mind that there could be some hurdles, some challenges that you need to resolve first before you can move ahead. Now, let's focus on that question. I'm just leaving it general for relationship. I'm going to pull 3 cards from this deck, and we'll just look at how those cards speak to each other to get those messages, Arissa. So really interesting cards have come out. I'm going to go in the opposite order that they came out. I just feel drawn to the messages that way. This is the Page of Pentacles. It represents choosing the direction that you go in, starting that journey, getting into that path based on what you need for yourself, either health or finances. I do feel like this is more about health because it's the jacket that's really standing out for me, and that's often about support, comforting, keeping us warm, and needs for ourselves, those kinds of needs. And you're getting into a direction in terms of what you need for yourself. Now, this is the 3 of Cups reversed. This often represents some sort of negative talk, some sort of like rumors, gossip, not so nice communication happening. Or a good communication that didn't go the way you expected, which can still have that same kind of feeling. Keep in mind, this is usually talk that's against you in some way. So people may be talking, or there could be some, like I said, rumors, gossip, things being spread, that kind of talk that could be happening around. Now, what I also see is this horrible situation that has to be worked through. And you were like this, where these heavy thoughts being represented by swords were literally on your mind so much that they were pinning you down. And when the card comes out reversed, that tells me, Arissa, that you've been working through these heavy thoughts, that you're slowly in the process of lifting these swords by removing these thoughts from your mind. And they'll no longer weigh you down. They'll no longer pin you down. And that's why it's reversed. It's actually, this is the more grim message when it's not reversed, when all these heavy thoughts are pinning you down. And you've been there, done that, and now you're working through the process and you're relieving these swords from your back. That tells me that you may have some work to work on in terms of previous relationships that you've been through, because this was about relationships. And the message you need to hear about relationships is to work through, continue that process of working through those swords, those removing those heavy thoughts from your mind so that they no longer work against you. And try not to listen to other people around you, that what they think and say is not what goes. I like to call this the projection card when it comes out this way, because it's really about people projecting things onto you that don't actually fit. That's why it's the rumor gossip card. Keep that in mind, okay? Because when you flip this card around, when you sit in your own space or you don't allow that negative influence to bother you, it becomes positive communication and you have something to celebrate and share with others. But in the meantime, it does look like this. You'll have to handle that or work through this challenge. And then, of course, as I mentioned, the Page of Pentacles, getting into that path in terms of what you need for yourself. I'd like to extend on this reading further. Given that this was relationships, and it really speaks to what's going on for you in terms of relationships, working through these heavy thoughts from previous relationships perhaps, and not paying so much attention to the comments or opinions of others. I'm using my heart chakra deck to look at what you need most for yourself. I think that that would be helpful. So 3 cards have come out, really interesting cards. 2 higher arcanas and a suit. The suit is a wand card. It's considered a fire element in this tarot structure, and it's the awaiting results reversed. What this card often represents is, because it's about spiritual development with the 7 in numerology, and the color around the border tells me that it's a fire card. When it's about actions and passions and spirituality, it's about taking that action in terms of what's really passionate to you and what's important on a soul level. And when it's reversed, it's saying, don't await the results. Get on this. Do it now. There could be an opportunity around you in terms of relationship, or going through this work, this shadow work, in order to resolve from previous relationships. Either way, it's saying don't wait. If it was like this, it would be saying you got time, awaiting the results are going to come to you. When it's this way, no, you have to find the results. This is really up to you. If you back off, you're not going to find that relationship. If you get into it, if you really, it seems to be in your ability, and that's what this card represents. Now, the 2 higher arcana cards are interesting because we have the confront card and the base chakra card. Now, I'm going to start there because the base chakra card is this card, and it's referring to another energy center. If you're familiar with the energy chakras, the heart chakra is what we asked the deck for, and it's pointing us to the base chakra. This is like similar to the root chakra. It's about where we find grounding and security for ourselves. And what this is saying is that you've been working on this. It's not reversed, telling me that it's not imbalanced. That, oh, my phone's dying. This is annoying. Okay, we'll have to solve that right after this. So you're creating a balance in your base chakra. This means that you're not, if you're too grounded and too secured, you're going to hold yourself back from opportunities. If you're not grounded enough, you're going to throw yourself into opportunities that aren't good for you. It's about finding that perfect middle point. What is the best kind of grounding for you? Where are you going to feel and receive the most peace? And it's about creating that balance. And this tells me you are creating that balance. Now, the confront card often represents something that you need to confront within yourself. It shows the depiction of like a mirror, and you can see the person kind of coming up against their shadow self. It's about something internal that you need to confront. There's something within you that works against you in relationships that you need to acknowledge. I can see based on this card why this is telling you to work through these heavy thoughts that have been pinning you down. Make sure that if you've been treated unfairly or perhaps wrongly, that you're not taking those energies with you that don't serve you anymore, that you're learning the lessons from those experiences and allowing you to grow and develop and enhance yourself. As opposed to holding yourself back. I do get a sense that there is something that you need to confront internally that's going to help you be more confident, be more secure, and get into those relationships. This feels like the type of answer where, if you can fix and determine and analyze what's happening for you inside, that's when you're going to shine and you're going to catch the eye of that other person or that other relationship. Or if you're currently in a relationship, that's when the relationship gets better. But in the meantime, it seems like self-love seems to be more important than external, that you have to do the internal work. I do hope this is helpful, Arissa. Let me know if you have any questions. When I look at this reading as a whole, you have pentacles, cups, swords, and equivalent to wands. You have every element on the table. And that represents that this isn't just compartmentalizing into one portion of your life. This is overspilling into all the areas of your life. Also, with 2 higher arcanas appearing on the table and they're both upright, it's really your choice how you proceed. So it's up to you. It's really up to you to do the work, to confront this shadow part of yourself that could be holding you back. And don't await results. Get on this. It seems to be that there may be an opportunity around you somewhere if you just notice it or put in the work. Thank you so much, Arissa, for letting me do your reading for you. I do hope that this was helpful. Let me know. And when I bring this reading right back to where you are now in the moment, this work not getting done, if this is the internal work, the shadow work that's not getting done, then that's what's going to hold you up. The more that you delay on that, which is why I feel like this is saying get on it. Don't await those results. I do hope this is helpful. Oh, thank you for that feedback, Arissa. That it totally makes sense. Thank you for that. I appreciate it. And you're very welcome. So I'm going to put these cards away, and then I'm going to do a reading for Elizabeth. Elizabeth, if you're on the call, let me know. Hopefully I can get through your reading before my battery dies. I don't know why the battery didn't charge. Kind of annoying. But we're just going to go with the flow. Just going to clear away the decks before I start a new one. Now, I don't understand why my battery's dying because it is plugged in. I'm just going to take a quick look at this before I start Elizabeth's reading. Elizabeth, if you're there, let me know if you have a question or topic. Oh, hi, I see you there. Thank you for that response. Let me know if you have a question or topic, or if you'd like to leave the reading general. Quite often when readings are left general, it's the messages that you need to hear that show up. But it's up to you if you want to try and refine what you're looking for from the reading itself. And I'm just going to try and fix this quickly while I'm off camera for a moment. I do apologize. See if we can get some power to my camera here so that we don't lose power, because that would be very unfortunate. No, I'm going to lose power in the next few minutes. I don't know why that's happening, but we're going to try our best. And I do apologize if we get cut off. And Elizabeth, if we do get cut off, I will reach out to you to finish the reading or give you a remote one-on-one Zoom reading as a compensation. Elizabeth, I get the Wheel of Fortune reversed for you. This is similar to the no waiting message. When it's like this, it's like time. There's time, a process that needs to go through. And when you go through that process, you'll reach the fortune, reach the reward later after that time has passed. When it's this way, it's like imminent. There's something around you that could be feeling lucky or feeling fortunate or, counting your blessings. There's some sort of feeling like that for you. So just keep that in mind as we go through the next part of the reading, see how that connects. Oh, thank you for that message, Elizabeth. Thank you for your understanding. Okay, this is a general reading for you, Elizabeth. 3 cards, all suits, practical messages, 2 reversed, 1 not. I think I'm going to start this way. I just feel drawn to the cards this way. This is the 5 of Pentacles reversed, and it often represents no longer being taken advantage of, standing your own, no longer feeling impoverished or at a disadvantage in some way. This is the way the card looks, and you can see where the disadvantage is being depicted in the cards. You see these people, they're injured, they could be poor, they could be unfortunate in some ways. And Pentacles are about what you need for yourself. 5 in numerology is a pivotal moment. It's like the climax of a story. When you get to 5 in a journey from 0 to 10, you have just as much effort and distance to get to 10 as you do as turning around and going back to 1. And so it's really about, is it worth it? It's a pivotal choice moment. Is it in your best interest to continue to the end or go back to the beginning? It's about making that choice for yourself. it being reversed. It's about, you know, not being put into disadvantage. Now, the next card is also reversed, and it's the Four of Wands. This represents some sort of disruption to a happy household. When the card's this way, we're taking action to create structure and grounding. Four in numerology is about grounding and structure, and wands represent the actions in tarot. When it's reversed, it's not being able to take that action to get to the grounding, which brings disruption. So there could be some disruption that's stopping you from taking action to create this happy home or lifestyle. Doesn't mean it'll stay like this, because when you resolve that challenge or whatever you're up against, the adversary, for lack of a better way of saying it, this card's going to flip around and you're going to be taking action to create that happy home. But in the meantime, something has to be resolved first. Now, the Seven of Wands is also on the table. Now, seven about spiritual development, and wands, those actions and passions. When we take action and spiritual development, it's usually about standing our own, holding our own, and standing our ground. And you can see that in the card. This person's wands are up against all these other wands, and it's like he's holding his own. Kind of reminds me of like King of the Castle or King of the Hill. You know, he's on the top of the hill holding the fort. And that's what this is suggesting for you, that your actions are up against all these other actions and you're holding your own. You have to sort of stand your ground. You have to be supportive to yourself, and you have to not allow others to discourage you. I'm wondering if these two cards are related in terms of what you're up against could be creating this disruption. Let me know if that makes sense to you, okay, Elizabeth? Now, when I look at this reading as a whole so far, with the wands and the pentacles, with the Wheel of Fortune card reversed, this does not mean bad luck or unfortune. It means that there's no time to wait. And so whatever action you seem to be taking, I would definitely take that action moving forward, as it is fortunate for you. Now, I am wondering how I can extend on this reading further. I'm thinking I might look at this from my heart chakra deck again. This deck does give great advice in terms of what someone needs for themselves, and it may give you good advice moving forward, given all these actions and unable to take action to create this happy home. I hope that makes sense. Oh, thank you for that message there, Elizabeth. It makes sense. Makes total sense. Thank you for that. Just lets me know that I'm on the right track. Now, I'm just charging this deck with that intention. I really want to ask what you need for yourself, given what's happening here. Okay, two higher arcanas are bookending this message. I'm going to start in the middle. It's suggesting to move on. 8 in numerology is how we find success, reaching the end path. It's the success along the way. The color around the border tells me that this is an earth card, which is equivalent to pentacles. Lots of pentacles tonight. Really about the needs, everyone, what they need for themselves. And when we find success in what we need for ourselves, it's often about the journey or the path that you've taken. And you can see here this person's walking along the beach, and what's really standing out for me are his footprints in the sand. And that often represents the path that you've walked, where you've come from, and how the waves kind of brush and wash away those footsteps. The waves are also really standing out for me, and I feel like that's the interaction of the card, is that the waves are literally washing away the footsteps. It's letting go of the past. You have to look forward where you're headed, not look back at the past where you've already walked. There could be something about your past that's getting in the way or stopping you or slowing you down from moving forward. And just know you need to let that go and move on from the past. Of course, you don't want to forget the experiences that you've had, but you certainly don't want to carry them as if they're still happening now. You need to be able to release yourself from those energies and allow yourself to grow from that experience. The two higher arcanas are interesting. It's the Heal card reversed and the Solar Plexus Chakra card reversed. I'm going to talk about that. I'm going to start with the Heal card. The Heal card reverse means that there's some sort of healing that isn't taking place. Perhaps that's what you need to move on from, is whatever is in your past. You could be carrying the hurt with you the negativity with you, and it's time to look at things more positively. It's time to let go of that negative aspect, or that cord that you can cut the connection from. And that will get you into this healing path. That's when this card's going to flip around and you'll be taking the healing approach. But in the meantime, it does look like this. Now, 17 in numerology does break down to an 8, which brings us to 2 8s side by side about how you reach that success. In order to reach that success, you have to move on and you have to heal. And that leaves me with the solar plexus chakra. Now, this is the third card in the higher arcana of this deck, which often represents communication. 3 in numerology is about communicating with ourselves, and the solar plexus chakra is about our nerves, our gut. When we get butterflies, we feel nervous, anxious. What do we do with that? And it's about, when it's reversed, it means that there's an imbalance in that solar plexus chakra. So what that means is that if you get nervous or anxious and you get too nervous and too anxious, it's going to hold you back from opportunity. You're not going to get out into take those actions that you need to. If you're not anxious enough, you don't have nervousness, you're going to, end up doing some really, really wild things in your life, and it's not going to be helpful. You won't be able to hold yourself back. And so it's about making this balance. I do get a sense that it's not that, it's the other, where you get too nervous, too anxious. That's the feeling I get, but let me know what you think about that, Elizabeth. This does not have to stay this way. When you start creating that balance for yourself, where you're no longer feeling anxious or nervous, or you're able to calm that for yourself, this card's going to flip around and you'll be creating that balance for yourself. You'll be able to find the balance in